Hello and welcome to episode 434 of the Stacey West podcast. My God, how have we ever got there? My name's Gary. I have been your host once or twice over those 434 episodes, but more recently we have introduced Miss Emily Rook to the team and she will join me this evening. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. I'm a little bit betwixtmas. I'm still holding on to a semi-festive jumper and I don't know what day it is, and a bit like what Ben said on the last podcast, I'm mainly eating crisps, but I'm good. I'm in fine fettle. I'm in a very good mood, especially after all the football that's been
all the
few
football
days. Yes, how are you, Gaz?
Yeah, not too bad. Wasn't well last couple of days. Was meant to be doing media stuff at Barnsley yesterday and didn't end up going, which was disappointing. But I do feel that I've been dragged recently. I don't know if it's into middle class or not. You and I once had a very, I think, well, not you and I, the Stacey West group once had a conversation where you believed that drinking fizzy water made you middle class. Do you remember that?
I do stand by the fact it just brings a touch of class.
Yeah, you see, I disagree, but a few things have happened to me recently, a few upgrades around the house that make me feel a little bit more middle class. If I list them, do you want to judge whether it is middle classness or not?
I can certainly do that, yes.
Okay, the first one may sound like a basic. Wardrobes. Now, for 10 years, we haven't had wardrobes. We've had one of these hanging rails with a bit of material hanging down the front, and it's all a bit rickety. And over the last couple of months, we've purchased 2 wardrobes. So I feel like that's been a step forward. Middle class or not?
I think it's definitely a step forward, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it's middle class. I'm afraid. No, not that one.
Now, the next 3 maybe. And this next one, it has been a few months, to be fair. But it's a really, really big TV.
Yeah.
Like 65 inches, hung above the fireplace, not on a stand in the corner like some council house. Middle class.
I won't tell you where my TV is.
In the corner on a stand. Mine was as well. You know what? Actually, somebody did tell me that hanging it on the chimney breast is a bit chavvy.
Well, I wouldn't say that. But a big telly, yeah, definitely. That's next level in the class ladder.
2 more. I mean, I'm not going to mention the really fast internet that allowed me and 3 other members of the Stacey West podcast to do 3 hours of 5-a-side on FIFA the other night, where we went on a 6-game unbeaten run. I'm not going to mention that because it would be unethical, not unethical, on something or other. So, third one. A fridge, but an American fridge, full height, double door, freezer one side, fridge the other, with an ice maker that does not just cubed ice, but crushed ice and cold water as well.
Yeah, I think having ice on tap, middle class. Yes. And if you can plop that into a glass of sparkling water, then you are a cut above the rest.
The sparkling water probably wouldn't be cold. And the final one that I've installed today, a Ring doorbell.
Ooh, yeah. I think I'd like one of them. I don't have one, but I'd quite like one. I actually quite like it on, as you know, I'm a big fan of true crime and lots of kind of police documentaries, and I just love it how they can just get everyone's Ring doorbell footage and see who it is that's been creeping about, and they piece it all together down the street. So I think I'd like one just for that, purpose, really.
This whole little thing was leading me to literally that. The reason that we want a Ring doorbell, it isn't so that when I'm sat on my sofa, I can see who's at the back door, because I will have seen them come in from the front room and the dog will have alerted me to their presence when they're within 100 yards of the house. It's because if there's ever a crime committed, and admittedly out the back of my house, because my Ring doorbell faces backwards, I want the police to come and meet for me to be able to help them solve it. I'd love to live. Yeah, I'd love to live in a built-up area, where they go, knock, 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 there's been a crime and we'd like your Ring doorbell footage. I'd love that. I love being a part of the great British justice system. When I was on jury service and sent a pedo to prison, it's like, yes, more of that, please.
No, I get it. Completely get it. I get it. I watch all the documentaries, and because I want to be in one. That sounds very not in that way. Maybe the only chance you've got is if you commit some kind of serious crime. But let's not
commit serious crime. Yes,
I'd rather not. Not at Christmas, anyway.
I just want to say a big hello. We've got 40 or 50 people watching. But Chris Cawthorne has come on, and he said he got a Ring doorbell to recently protect his van. But I just want to say hello to Chris, because I used to go on away days with Chris, and he is a top lad, and he wants to give me Shane Clark's match-worn shirt for my collection. So, yeah, hope you're doing well, mate. Right. Shall we talk about some of the football?
Yes, let's. I've been dying to talk about football all day. Ever since I got in last night from the game, I've been dying to talk about it. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Right. So yesterday we played away at Barnsley, looking for our 5th win there in 6 visits, looking for our 3rd win this season. I mean, they must hate us in Barnsley, by the way. But in all seriousness, it looked quite difficult on paper. The injuries are just beginning to pile up. You know, Ben House is out. We know James Collins is out. Adam Jackson, Oscar Thorne, Tom Bayliss, the latest to go onto the injury table. Rico probably rested because of so many games in such a short space of time. Maybe the same for Fred. Those centre forwards have to work incredibly hard. You could almost say a patched up Lincoln going to a side who massively underachieving with some really talented players. But on paper, for me, after the big win against Cardiff, the big win against Stockport, it felt like a kind of well, surely this has got to finish at some point, hasn't it? Surely somebody at some point is going to swat those pesky imps and put us back in our place.
Yeah, I felt the exact same. I felt like, the jubilance of the wins against Stockport and Cardiff. I just thought the bubble's got to burst. Lincoln City don't. We're the nearly men. We're the nearly. Yeah. We're always nearly. And I just thought the bubble's got to burst. And I think, when you hear Tom Bayliss is potentially out for a long stint, you just, it's another kind of, it's a kick in the teeth, and you just think, oh, and I was, pre-match thinking, well, Ivan's probably going to play. How kind of up to it is he going to be? He's not had a lot of minutes really. When he has played, he has looked good and assured, and he's been brought in as a player that's going to have a really bright future for us. But right here, right now, can he do it? And then I'm thinking, well, Dom Jeffries can play in there maybe, but he's, managing his minutes still. So there was some big question marks, and I gave a draw as my prediction, because I think part of it was just not daring to believe we could do it.
Don't dare to believe. I like that. I've got to agree. I think the one benefit is, and Michael alluded to in his post-match interview, which we're getting way ahead of ourselves now, but we did what we did in the summer for times like this. So we did what we did to be able to bring a Justin Abika in who can go up front and give us the extra legs. We signed Ivan in the summer. He's been waiting to come in. All those people saying, why isn't he getting a chance? Why is he on the bench? This is his time now. He's had that integration period. We needed an oven-ready Ivan for December the 28th or 29th, rather than him in the summer running around and keeping Tom Bayliss out the side. So although we had to rotate, when you looked at the starting 11, you're kind of like, yeah, that's a decent enough starting 11. There wasn't a lot of filler there. And, I think Dom Jeffries, Justin Abika, even Bartholomew, whether it's Tom Bayliss, whether it's Freddie Draper, whether it's Tom Hamer, whether it's Adam Jackson, there's only really 1 or 2 players that we could put in where you'd go, I'm not entirely sure about that. And one of them at the minute would probably be Lewis Monsma. So I think that's testament to the depth of the squad. But, we still need convincing. And what better way to be convinced of one of those new faces than for him to deliver a inch perfect free kick, something that the person he has replaced is well known for, to give us a 1-0 lead after 6 minutes.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, and it's one of those things, isn't it? The more you see Ivan play, like I didn't know he had set pieces like that in his locker, because we just haven't seen enough of him to know. So it was a wonderful surprise. And, that whole move, the free kick, Jack Moylan won that free kick. I think Barnsley gave it away quite sloppily in the middle, picked up by Rob Street, who then ended up getting played into Moylan, who he's just got that. So there's something unexpected about to happen. Whenever Moylan picks up the ball, it's that unpredictability in a good way, where he's just going to run at you, or he's going to take a strike from some bizarre angle and it's going to creep into the corner of the net, that kind of thing. So he picked up the ball and he drove forward like he does, makes things happen. I didn't like the challenge on him, actually. I watched it back, and while it's not a nasty, vicious, dangerous tackle, it is just a blatant, probably quite lazy actually on their part, but a blatant just swing of the leg. He's never going to win the ball. And I just thought it was a bit unnecessary. But like I say, it wasn't a nasty challenge or anything like that. Probably didn't, warrant too much more. But I didn't like the look of it. But yeah, what a peach of a free kick from Ivan. Curled it in beautifully.
I'm just watching the challenge now back, and I hadn't actually noticed it. It's a little bit like a child's kung fu kick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not any real attempt to play the ball at all. He's just flailed a high leg. Like I said, it's not dangerous, but it is just it's a bit of a crap challenge.
Yeah,
let's put it mildly.
Now, I'm going to take credit for Tom Hamer's goal, because on FIFA, EAFC, whatever you want to call it, you can evolve players. And this is, I don't know if you play FIFA or not. And anyone, for some reason, I didn't take you as a FIFA player.
Not since FIFA 03, but that was on the PS2 and a long, long time ago.
When you were about 5 or something, for a guess as well. Yeah. But I've been evolving Tom Hamer, and he's an absolute monster in both boxes. So just to see him plant that header in, he's rapidly becoming one of my favourite players. I love a no-nonsense footballer. I kind of like a Ben House, which is odd because my other type of favourite footballer is all the frills, complete nonsense, kind of Bruno Andrade style. So I'm either one end or the other. So it's nice to see him get his goal, but it wasn't a case of us dismantling Barnsley or being on top with effort after effort after effort. We got our lead. I don't know. I'm not saying that it was kind of like a fitness thing, but we couldn't really be at full pelt. We've got another game the day after tomorrow. We were on the back of the Boxing Day. There was always going to be a degree of lethargy, of energy conservation. I don't know the best way to put it. I don't think that we were poor. We worked incredibly hard off the ball, and sometimes the work off the ball doesn't always get seen by people. But Barnsley were, to be fair, they weren't that bad. It wasn't like we steamrolled them, was it? They didn't really create anything too clear cut, but they always felt like they may be a threat.
Yeah, it felt to me like, and I'm kind of summarising to the end here, but it felt to me like a really almost perfect away performance where you kind of have to dig in a bit. We know it's not going to be flashy. We know we're not going to be, like you say, kind of tearing them apart, kind of cutting through them. We're just going to be efficient, solid, and I think, it's the most obvious statement in the world, but we took 2 chances and scored them, and they didn't really create many good chances. I think we definitely had the better of the chances. I didn't think they looked great, Barnsley, I have to say. I didn't think they looked brilliant. They had a lot of the ball. They moved it about fairly well, but I don't think they ever looked like they were going to really cause too much threat. They kind of couldn't. I don't think they knew how to break us down, but I think that's real testament to just how solid our defence is at the moment.
Yeah, so we get goal number 11 from the set piece. Like you say, they move it around a little bit. They moved it into our area for one chance that Tendai Deriqua blocked. It bounced up. It's handball. I'm not going to gloss it up any other way. It's bounced up. Bradley's arms away from his body. I don't know how the referee doesn't give it. We've been on here being critical of referees in the past. Referees, I believe, have cost us games. And I think at that point in that game last night, he probably helped us. If it goes 1-1, their crowd get maybe back behind them rather than on their back. Turned Sonny Bradley, from what I understand, into a bit of a pantomime villain in and around Barnsley, which is brilliant. But do you think it was penalty?
Yeah, in real time, from where we were sat, it was hard to see exactly, but you kind of thought, oh, that looks like it's hit a hand. And then on the replays, it's bounced up and it's hit his hand. hasn't it? And it's in an unnatural position, in inverted commas. I don't know where your arm is kind of meant to be when you're moving and controlling the ball and trying to clear it or whatever, but it's not directly by your sides, which seems to be what the rule is. So yeah, I think we probably got away with one there. That was a fairly decent attack from them. It came down with Cleary on the left-hand side, who I think was their key player, really. He was, all the attacks were coming down that side through him. Street and Darikwa did really well on him for most of the game, I think. That block, the initial block from Tendai, worth just making another special mention to that. It was almost Rico Hackett-esque. Not quite as last ditch, but it was still good. And I gave him my man of the match, and I think that block played into that quite a lot. But yeah, it bounced up, and I think Sonny Bradley and Lincoln City did get away with one there.
Yeah, we did. But like they say, these things even themselves up over the course of the season, and we are due a few. But it's always important to acknowledge, I think, as a nice, independent, neutral podcast as we are, we try to be fair and balanced, and it is handball, and Barnsley were unlucky. But I think the block kind of summed up the rest of the first half, the rest of the game for me, because it's just that bodies on the line. And the number of times I'm referencing Danny Cowley at the moment is more and more. I don't like to draw comparisons. I've said it before, comparison is the thief of joy. We should be enjoying what we're doing now. There's no comparison being top of the National League, being top of League Two, as there is being second in League One. Everything's different. And, we're almost 10 years on now from the National League. But Danny Cowley's team had the refuse to lose. Danny Cowley's team worked for each other. Danny Cowley's team would block. They would, if they needed to foul, they would foul. They would they would do whatever was needed to win. Mm-hmm. And Chris sent me a video earlier today, and it was, I put a comment in my write-up, which somebody at the club, I will say, I won't go any further, sent me just this comment with a gif of somebody tipping their hat. And the comment that I'd written was, that's because we've hit the sweet spot between science and art, understanding the hard work that needs to go in before the headlines get written. And Chris sent me a video of the hard work that needs to go in before the headlines get written. And it's Barnsley breaking, and it's 2-on-3, I think, or 3-on-3. And within 5 seconds, the ball's progressed to the area, and we've got 8 men behind the ball. Like literally everybody who was one side of the ball, and particularly the two that I really have to comment on, McGrandles and Bartholomew, because your defenders you expect to be back there, the fullbacks as well. But those two holding midfielders are looking to progress the attack, and they're going to get back as well. And for me, that was it was the story of the rest of the first half, and it was the story of 30 minutes of the second half at least. It's just that there's just no settling. There's nobody wandering back. It's just relentless hard work, just minute after minute, hour after hour. It's not always pretty. Fans sometimes look at it and go, oh, we're sitting back because we've got 8 men behind the ball, but they forget that 5 seconds earlier we had 4 or 5 men ahead of the ball, and it hasn't come to anything. And for me, yesterday's game epitomised that. Our XG throughout the entire game, yes, XG, how many? 18 minutes. 0.45 XG, and we scored twice. Theirs was 1.12. So on the balance of play, they may have deserved a 1-0 win. But there's no stat on here that has work rate. But if there was a number that you could put on work rate from 1 to 100, we would be 100 every single game.
Yeah. And I think another moment to sum that up, and this was near the end of the game. So again, I'm kind of jumping further ahead than kind of where we are in the review. But after we'd scored, Barnsley did have a break forward only a couple of minutes after that. And they had a shot, and there was Ivan Varfolomiev, Riley Towler, and I think Adam Reach flinging themselves in front of it. All 3 of them, bang, 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 one behind the other. And kind of from the away end, you could just see the kind of blue shirts just darting across because they were putting their bodies on the line. We'd just gone 2-0 up with, not long left to play. And yet they were still kind of putting their bodies on the line, like I said. And I always find it quite interesting with Varfolomiev and Riley Towler were 2 of those players that were flying in. And of course, they're professionals and they train and they are Lincoln City players. So I'm not doubting their kind of commitment to the cause, but they have been fringe players. Ryu Towler could feel a little bit like he's been left out. You don't know. I highly, highly doubt it. But to see those players still putting in that effort, even Lembakisa came on at the end for a few minutes and was putting the same amount of effort in. And to me, that really sums it up. And there's just, I don't know, is that what takes you to the next level of where you need to be in this league? And I think it's nice, and it's what's the word? It's easy to make comparisons with the Cowley seasons, because I think the excitement and the feeling that you get in the stands when we're getting those wins and we're overcoming the odds and we're seeing the players put in the effort, the feeling that we have is the same. I'm not sure I felt quite the same watching a Lincoln City team since then, really. I don't think. So I think those comparisons are quite natural, because it's our probably nearest memory of similar times, similar emotions, and similar excitement.
Yeah, I think we were robbed of the 2020-21 season personally by COVID, because I think had we been in the grounds then, I think we would have had that same, we're second and you're going into Christmas and we've beaten Boxing Day 5-1 against Burton. Here we go 4-1, I think, or 4-0 against Northampton just before. It would definitely have kind of G'd us along. But again, I mean, we're going off on a tangent a little bit now, but why not? Because it's the end of year special. Well, it's not special. We're always special. But I remember playing, and funnily enough, it's Barnsley again at our place, drew 2-2 a few years ago. I think Tashan might have equalised. Not Tashan, obviously, TJ. But Tashan came on and he looked completely disinterested. I think it was the last game he played for us. It was the worst I'd ever seen. I was absolutely disgusted when I walked away. It's just like, that is utterly abysmal. It's unacceptable. And I said it at the time. For anyone that goes, you didn't say it at the time. I said it at the time. Check it out. Go back, search, have a look. I did. But I wonder if what you've just picked up on there, Dexter Lembakisa could have done that. Now, I would never question anybody's professionalism at the time, apart from when it was Tash and when it's obvious. I would never say, Dexter could do that before he comes on. I would never say, they might be on the beach before we go and draw 2-2 at Charlton. I wouldn't do anything like that. But Dexter came on. He's more or less been told he's going back in January. So he could possibly, he's been brought on for 4 or 5 minutes at the end of a game. We're already winning 2-0. Even if he screws up, they might score. Do you know what I mean? But he came on, and that's what you'd expect, bare minimum, isn't it? It's like you and I sometimes joke about things that people say are class. So like they say, it's class because that old lady's fallen on the floor and you've helped her up. No, it's not class. It's just the way you're expected to behave. And I expect Dexter Lembakisa to come on and put 100% in. But I expected it from Tashan Otu-Booth. So is that reflective of the culture behind the scenes now to the culture behind the scenes under who was manager and Mark Kennedy? I just wonder if it's, I wonder if that's kind of reflective of the overall mood.
Yeah, possibly. And something I put in our group chat the other day, which kind of lends itself to that, is I have this thing where when I watch the goals back, I watch it a few times and I like to look at all the other players, not the goal scorer, and see what their reaction to the goal going in is, because I just love to see how delighted they are for each other. Or if a player doesn't celebrate, I'm like, he didn't celebrate, and it doesn't happen very often. But to see players and how happy and excited they are, and that real sense of team and togetherness, I think it goes hand in hand with that completely. I totally agree with you.
So second half, just by the way, I feel under intense pressure because we've got like Mummy Rook, Daddy Rook and Sister Rook now all watching. Do you know what? We should have got you on board earlier. It would have doubled our viewership for the first 390 odd episodes. Anyway,
it's a true murder of Rooks are in.
The proper Parliament of Rooks. They're all here, aren't they? Parliament of Rooks. After half-time, it happened against Stockport. It happened against Cardiff. And I think when you play the way that we play, majority of the best stuff that we do is without the ball. You've always got to expect it. When you're playing teams with bigger budgets, when you're playing League One teams, these are good footballers. Like, even if there's a footballer last night who was on the pitch who misplaced some passes and didn't look great and was booed off, right, that footballer's a million times better than anybody, any of us, any watching this, listening to this. He's a million times better than that. So these are good footballers. You're always going to have a spell in a game. You're never going to dominate a game from start to finish. it's Lincoln City versus Bowers and Pitsea, yes. If it's Lincoln City versus Northampton, Port Vale, Burton, Huddersfield, doesn't matter. The other team are going to have a spell. So for the third game in a row, that spell kind of came out after half time. We weren't really on the ropes like I think we were against Cardiff when we made the change, possibly Stockport as well. But again, Barnsley they just couldn't break through. It was a blue wall. Yeah, I always think of the red wall when the last election, and the Tories regrettably broke through it, and everyone's going, "Oh, they've got through the red wall." Well, the red shirts couldn't get through the blue wall yesterday.
No, they couldn't. And it was the first kind of 15 minutes of the half. I did feel nervy. And again, it's that you've got something to lose. We've got second place to, lose and all that kind of stuff now, which makes watching a game unbearable, but also amazing at the same time. But they did come out strong. They had a flurry of chances. I think it was Phillips had one from close range and it hit the side netting, and all the Barnsley fans were up cheering. And
Yes.
I just got my dad couldn't go to the game last night, but I just got a text. He was watching it. I just got a text from him while I was there going, that wasn't even close. So
it wasn't.
So there we go. Wasn't even close, but it was a good move. And I think they had a header that Wickens saved again from close range, which they probably should have done better with. Which was actually a very similar move to the one in the first half that kind of drew the block from Derikwa and the potential penalty shout. They kind of Connell kind of chipped the ball in over the top, and it falls to their striker. But they should have done better with those opportunities. But it did feel a little nervy at that point. But yeah, we just defended excellently, kept them at bay, and then after that they were reduced really to kind of long range efforts, which, unless you've had them reach, they can do them all day long.
Well, in the 30 minutes after half time, we'll say 28, we'll up to our goal, they had 7 efforts, 2 on target. I mean, the Keeler Dunn one was point blank, and there was a lot of criticism because I had to watch at home, as I've already said, but there was a lot of criticism that he should have done better. You'd expect a player to do better, but it's not easy because he's looking at the goal and you've got a great big George Wickens right there. It's probably easier to have the header a little bit further out. It's like if you're following a lorry, if you're right up behind it, you can't see around the side, but if you drop back, you have a better view of what's coming to overtake. So it's kind of like if you're further back, you've got more of the goal to go at. And yeah, Phillips hit the side netting. John Helm came out with a brilliant quote. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he said something along the lines of the Barnsley fans thought they'd scored, but you have to get it between the 2 uprights and the crossbar for it to count. And it was just like, it was the way that he said it. It was almost like Alan Partridge like. It was absolutely brilliant. So what we did in that second half, right up to our goal, we didn't have an effort on goal up until we scored on the 72nd minute. But it was that workout of possession again. Mm-hmm. And like on the balance of chances, on the balance of possession, on the balance of XG, a win was improbable. And if you show anybody the data without the score and say, this is the data, who won that game, the most optimistic we could get was a draw. And that's kind of, I started going heavy on data on this podcast back when it was just me and Ben. I started bringing the data in. And as time's got on, I've kind of moved away from it a little bit, in that data is the lines, but it's what colours it in that matters, and you can't define what colours it in. You give 2 people a line drawing, and one will colour it in and bring it to life, and the other one will scribble on it with a wax crayon like he's Steve Evans, like and only one's going to be beautiful. So it's that colouring in, Emily, isn't it? It's that splash of artistry in the science. And that splash of artistry came in the 72nd minute from Adam Reach.
It certainly did. What a goal. I think I've watched it back maybe 50 times. And then again to watch all the players different celebrating and who's doing what, because that's what I like to do. What a goal. I mean, he couldn't have hit it any better. And I think just there's something about it hitting the crossbar and bouncing down that makes it even better. There's just something about when it rattles in off the crossbar like that. I don't know whether it's that split second of, has it hit the bar? No, it's gone in, and just that up and down moment. But just a fantastic goal from a fantastic player. He had a shot in the first half that whistled just wide from a similar position at the edge of the area, so that may be a warning sign. But yeah, what a goal. And his celebration, like I say, watched it a good few times, it was just brilliant. And being there, and he's running around and he's giving it. If you can't, you won't be able to see it if you're not watching on YouTube, but he's got his arms out as if to say, come on then, bring it on. And he's running in front of the fans, a bit like when Jack Moylan scored at that end, when we beat them. And he ran in front of the fans and was giving it all. And even when, you know, the celebration to calm down and everyone's walking back for the kickoff again, he's still looking back at the Lincoln fans, and he's sort of joining in with what we were chanting, whether it was "We Are Imps" or something. I can't mean whatever it was. You know, he's joining in. His arms were. It was just a moment, a real moment. That'll be up there with goal of the season for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, he struck it sweetly. So I'm downstairs watching it on aforementioned telly, and Fee was in the bath taking her a cup of tea, literally, like, because I thought I get nervous. And you said there about having, you know, having something to lose. And there's I'm sure I don't know if you're a country music fan, but there's Chris Christopherson has a song called "Me and Bobby McGee," and in that he's got the line "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose." And I kind of think that back to last March, where I was enjoying football because we weren't going up and we weren't going down. And it's like, you want it and you don't want it. And like, you know, 70 minutes, I'm thinking, right, I'll make Fee a cup of tea. And because the ball's in the middle of the park, so I'm not going to sit here and watch 2 minutes of, you know, sweating palms. I come back and I've sat down, long throw's gone in. And like, I celebrate goals, but I can mute that celebration if I need to. Because, for instance, like if I'm in a media box, you can't jump up and go, yeah, get in. You've got to keep it calm. And when that went in, I couldn't not. I was just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah,
because Tom Bayliss, Rico Hackett, Jack Moylan, they've all had chances like that earlier in the season, and those balls have gone over, they've gone wide. One hit my car in Louth, and we were away, by the way, in Peterborough when he hit it. Do you know what I mean? It's reach. Sometimes the ball just gets struck. And you know what? It's not even the strike, is it? It's the off the crossbar, down, back up again. It's like an absolutely definitive. It's not just a goal. It's a get-in goal kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But it took a little bit of pressure off, because I don't think we looked nervy up until that point. I think the only people that connected to Lincoln City that were not nervy were the ones in the blue shirts on the pitch. They didn't look it. Everyone else did. And it just removed something. It's like your go at Jenga, and you've just taken something out, and then you can go, over to you. Yeah, do you know what I mean? My work here is done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of them, isn't it, where you're in the stands going, we could do with a second goal here. We could do with a second goal here, because you are hanging on to that you don't want to lose that lead, that 1-0, that really precious 1-0 lead. We don't want to lose it. So yeah, we were all in the stands thinking we need a second goal. And obviously I could probably talk about that goal for weeks and weeks and weeks. But I think that really, it killed the game off. I think at that point Barnsley were desperate, and they didn't know how to break us down anyway. And then at that point, when they've got to come back from 2 goals down, they just looked desperate. And I think, game over. I think it's worth saying actually as well that, you know, we were kind of withstanding the pressure from Barnsley at the start of that second half. And once again, we've seen it in the past couple of games, the subs that Skabala, well, not Skabala, because he wasn't in the dugout yesterday night, but that the team have made have nullified that and actually switched the momentum. So bringing on Riley Towler and kind of going to that, is it a back five, the wing backs, you know, going to that formation. We've seen it. It worked. It's worked in the past few games, and it worked last night. Completely switched things around.
Yeah, I think we're more suited to playing teams like Barnsley and Cardiff and Stockport than we are Port Vale and Northampton and Burton, personally, but there we go. So there was only really one other moment to talk about, and it was a little bit unsavoury for me. It was Luke O'Connell on Conor McGrandles, I think it was. Now, I get what he's trying to do. McGrandles has got past him. He's a little bit frustrated. You have a tug of the shirt. We've seen Pordy do it at Exeter a year or two ago. It's a tug of the arm. I don't like those fouls. I think any deliberate attempt to stop an opponent when you're not going for the ball, for me, should be a red anyway. You know, I said that when Pordy got booked against Exeter. They're all going, "Oh, my captain." No, it's cheating. I don't like that. But to do it by just kicking out. For me, I think it was Luca Connell, and it is Connell for anyone that was watching at home. It's not Connell or Cornell or Kinnell. It's Connell, I think. No disrespect to John Helm. He's brilliant, by the way. But for me, I've watched that back a couple of times now, and I think Connell was very, very lucky to stay on the field.
Yeah, it was cynical as they come, wasn't it? It was just, as you say, a kick out. And it's one of them where it's an orange card, isn't it? If an orange card existed, it's probably an orange card. Because within the laws of the game, it's not a red, but it's a very bad yellow. It's halted all momentum. We were running through, it wasn't goal scoring opportunity, and there were players in between us and the goal at that point. But we were breaking forward, and yeah, an orange card for me. If we can introduce them, that'd be great.
Yeah, and it was literally minutes after the goal.
Frustration, isn't it? Pure frustration.
Yeah, it is. So, and what we're going to do in the break, for those of you watching at home, we'll actually give you a sneaky preview of the challenge, because I have got it queued up on Y Scout. But it's pointless me doing that for the audio podcast, because listening to it wouldn't give you a view of it. So 36 minutes in, we've really got to move on. But we saw the game out. I mean, I was getting text messages late into the night from fans going, it's unbelievable. It's like 2018-19 over again. I believe we're going places, all that sort of stuff. And I don't like to be smug. Unfortunately, it's kind of like a natural state for me, which I don't like. It's either smug or arrogant, apparently, which I'm not happy particularly with either. But in this instance, I kind of got to say, listen back. And I've been lucky enough I met Michael a month after he started, and I've been invited down to training, and I've sat and had a meal with him and all that. I've been really, really lucky for the access. I have believed that what's going on now has always been possible. And if you go back to his first few months in charge, that post-Christmas run with the draw against Wickham and Derby and Peterborough, and then we went on that mad run and we got to sixth in the table. And last season we were sixth going into the Christmas. He's proven time and again that when we've got the fit squad and the players available, he's able to do it. It was only last Christmas derailed us when we started losing bodies and the pitches got heavier and we didn't have certain key players. I've always believed what we're going on now was possible, until we lost 3-0 at Rotherham. And at that point, I'm going, I'm not sure I believe anymore. And since then, we've literally 16 from 19 and just absolutely smashed it. So I do feel not smug, because that's really wrong, because that makes me sound like an arsehole, which I know some people would think I am. But I just feel really kind of, yeah. Do you know what I mean? When I get these messages of some of them replying to, I'm just going, yeah. It's been coming. I've genuinely felt this has always been in the pipeline, and one or two things have now fallen into position that perhaps weren't there before. Adam Reach, dare I say, not just because of his goal, but accidentally. The cover at the holding midfield, because when we lost Ethan Arahan last year, we fell to pieces. Now we lose Tom Bayliss. Doesn't matter, because we've got the Ukrainian monster to come in. Forwards, they're not scoring goals. Don't matter, because we get goals from everywhere else. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like something's clicked.
Yeah, and I am with you in that I always felt that Lincoln City were doing the right thing and we're on the right path, and everything is working towards this, where we want to be, the championship, the end goal, whatever it is. But I am a realist with a big pinch of pessimism in my life. So when we were, at the start of the season doing our league position predictions, I just thought, well, we're doing the right thing and we're moving steadily, but look at this, we've lost some big players and the budget table, and we can't afford the big teams in here. And I just thought it's all going the right way, but just very slow and steady. I did not expect us to be where we are now at all. But I mean, the past few games have definitely, I can see why we are now there. It's all, what you say, clicking, coming together. And I mean, it was even, while I was away in Australia and we do our predictions for the Instagram, and I can't remember which game it was, but my prediction, I came on and I said, I'm not very convinced by how we're playing at the moment, so I think it'll be a difficult game. I think those are my exact words. And within a month, my mindset has totally shifted. So I don't know whether we have performed better, or whether you get swept up in it more Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's possibly getting swept up in it more. We may be a bit guilty because we said we were good after Stevenage. I think when you're from the inside looking out, the blows feel harder. So when you lose 3-0 at Rotherham, you come away like, oh, you go to Leyton Orient. I think they were back to back as close as, oh God, and lose to Huddersfield in the Mickey Mouse Trophy, and oh, here we go. But actually, if you look back, we've been pretty consistent in terms of our work rate all season. We've gone through patches of scoring goals, Peterborough and Luton, and that time, and then not scoring them. But we are where we are for a reason. And you look at the division, and it's something like 3 points separate 9th from 21st, or something silly like that. It's it's close. Right. Shall we bring the first half of the Stacey West podcast to a close? And I will pad while I get a pen and paper so that I can write down where I need to edit. And we will be back shortly. It's all right. I just wanted to wait to a round number because I'm a little bit of a OCD. Right. So let's have a quick look at this tackle if we can before we say hello to everybody who is online. I think I can present a screen. I think if I present that, can everyone see that? So this is the foul on. And I'll tell you what I'll do. There.
Yeah, it's a lunge, isn't it? That.
So let's play it back in slow motion. I mean, that.
It's out of control, isn't it? When you look at it like that.
He's knee high. He's out of control. And straight away, you've got Ivan. Oh no, it wasn't on Connor. Who was it on then?
It was on Ivan, I think.
Was it on Ivan? Okay.
Or Ivan.
And then it was literally seconds later. I mean, I don't know if the McGrandles challenge, was it on Connell? I don't even know if McGrandles, because he isn't showing as being booked on here for his challenge. But he wasn't he? Wasn't he booked? He doesn't even look like he committed a foul, according to Y Scouts.
Doesn't sound like McGrandles, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound like him at all. Right, let's have a quick look through to see who's online. You must forgive me if I don't put your names up because just timing it. I'll put some up. So we've got Ollie, we've got Richard, we've got John, Devon's here. Missing Flossie, who isn't online this evening, must be busy. That's unusual. We've got Dom, we've got John Booth, who says it's been a while since he's been able to join live, so that's good. We've got Daddy Rook, who's got a house full of rooks. Yeah. So the Houses of Parliament. We've got Steve Barton, hello mate. Harry Jackson, Steve Leach, Happy New Year, mates. I think I've seen pictures of Steve in all sorts of warm foreign places recently, very envious. Ian, London Imp is on. We've got Mummy Rook is on. I've got Dave, Chris we've already spoken to. Conor McGrandles enthusiast. That sounds like
sounds like you.
Yeah, well, it sounds like someone who might be waiting for a Conor McGrandles OnlyFans. That does, doesn't it? No, maybe not. Who else have we got going down here? Lots of comments. Chip's needy neighbour. That's an interesting one. There we go. Connor and Carl Mercer is on. Carl brought us all a bottle of Jim Beam and said enjoy it at the summer party that I have up here at the house. If it's still here by the summer party, I won't be doing my job properly. John Booth, Devon, Katie Rook is on, so that's Sister Rook, I assume.
Yeah, my brother-in-law's probably also watching, but not commenting. So there's another one for the
brilliant, another one as well. That's a big hello to the Parliament. I think we've already said hello to Ollie. Might be a different Ollie. Would we? What's the minimum offer you'd take for Reach? I don't think anyone would buy him, and I don't think he would go. Big Swing City. Do we go big on a striker in January and capitalise on a poor league this season? No, because I don't think it's a poor league. I think when everyone can beat everyone, that makes it even tougher, if I'm honest. But I don't think we go big on a striker because we're second in the league. So do we actually need anything? What we're doing at the minute is put a second. If we do the same in the second half of the season, we'll be automatically promoted. I'm not so sure. Roy is on. Said it was Adams' week boot. Richard Pearce, it was Even who got took out by Connell. Thank you, mate. Yeah, blatant red, knee-high, dangerous and out of control. Steve Boland, biggest risk concern we have to finishing in the top two.
My blood pressure, probably. Biggest.
Yeah, definitely. I tend to get a flaky scalp when I get stressed. I'm not looking forward to that at all. There we go. What a catch I am. Evening, Gary, Emily, and everybody. Sorry if I'm missing anyone out. To answer that, actually, the biggest threat, I think, is just the 10 or 12 other teams that are looking for a place in the top two. Like Luton are coming on song. We're going to talk about Huddersfield in a bit. Peterborough, one of the most informed teams. Bolton have fallen off a bit, but it's good. So many good teams. Molwall is on. Molwall. Do you know what? Every time, plug spooky. It's spooky. It's Paul. That's right. It's Paul. Paul is on. Gemily, not the same as Bemily. Gemily sounds like a cream you get when you've got, do you know what I mean? Like
scalp.
Replace scalp. Yeah. It's not going to catch on. Wow, we've got so many people watching. This is crazy. It's like deadline day. Gerard is on. Hello, mate. And James, have a Guinness for me. Don't drink Guinness.
Anyway. Not for me. Can I just do a very, very, very quick before we come back on? Corrections and clarifications.
You just do. Do you want to do that for two seconds while I just nip and refill my drink?
Yes, I will try and I will fill my best as I can. Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm in charge. I haven't got any control over any of the buttons, unfortunately. I was just going to do a quick corrections and clarifications because last time I came on this podcast, Ben asked me what the favourite part of my trip to Australia was, and I neglected to say that obviously the highlight was spending time with my family in Australia, and that was clearly the highlight. And I did get a few messages from the family who watched afterwards to pick me up on that. They just wanted to clarify. Of course, spending time with my relatives was the highlight of going to Australia.
Oh, I've missed that. Did you not say the relatives? Did you say something else?
Yeah, I said like Australia Zoo.
Oh, you've got in trouble. The Parliament are on your case.
I know.
In Parliament on your case. Right, brilliant. So we will. Where's my pen? We'll come back in. We're having far too much fun for this. Oh, James, he says he's an Irish lad. Yeah, my mate likes Guinness. He's not Irish, but he's a fat lad. Actually, there is a guy I know called Dara, who was the barman in Rugby, and he's been on the radio recently. He's doing a Guinness review from every pub in Lincolnshire.
Oh, fun!
So, yeah, I mean, I don't like Guinness, but like 10cc sang, I don't like cricket either. So we'll come back in a few seconds. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Stacey West podcast. It is so refreshing to have Emily on because she doesn't do what Chris does. Every time I pause to come back on and start talking dead on, I always go on a round number. So like 40 minutes, 50 seconds. If it's 51 seconds, it spins me out. Guarantee every time it turns to 0 or 5, Chris will go.
I'm a professional. What can I say?
Yeah, you're a professional, and Chris just spews numbers. Like you can't stop him. It's like every 5 seconds he literally has to say some random numbers like 4.2 xg pressing, blanket coverage, half spaces. Love him to pieces, by the way. Better FIFA player than me, sadly. So that's why we play on the same team now, so I don't get Mardy and lose. Right, New Year's Day 2026, the welcoming in of a new year, not one that I'm going to be sad to see the back of, but hopefully it can be a really happy new year because the Huddersfield Town juggernaut rolls into town with its big budget and its big names and its big expectations, big crowd. Everything's going to be big on New Year's Day. But will it be a big day for Lincoln City? Well, we're going to try and do a little bit of a preview. But you said, Emily, before we went on air, we're kind of a bit bored of Huddersfield, aren't we, already?
Yeah, I said to you, I feel like we've done them to death. I feel like I've listened and spoke about Huddersfield, and we know half their players because they used to be ours. And I don't really know how much more we can say about them, but we will have a go.
Yeah. Now, first of all, they're a kind of a 3-5-2, or they certainly were this weekend as they beat Northampton. They've had a couple of good results, but we'll talk about those in a minute. Sean Rowan and Lasse Sorensen have forced their way into the side and are playing at left wing back and right wing back, almost as if we knew what we were doing before they tried them everywhere else. But they do have a good side. Obviously, you've got Alfie May, you've got the boy on loan from Chelsea, Castledine, who's absolutely outstanding. So in terms of names, we've got a really big team coming, and we kind of know that, and that's what we know Huddersfield are. That they did it in Boxing Day 1982 when they came and derailed our promotion push. I think they've only lost 2 league games since the 1st of November. They're on a little bit of a roll. But when you think about the run that they've been on, let's just talk about their results since the 1st of November. So 1st November, they lost 2-1 to Bolton in the FA Cup. Then they won in the Mickey Mouse Trophy. So they beat Plymouth at home. You'd expect that. Plymouth are crap. They beat Mansfield away, not a bad result. Lost at Luton, drew with Wimbledon, lost against Cardiff, drew away at Northampton, drew with Wigan, and now they've won 3 on the bounce. But they've won 3 on the bounce against Rotherham, bottom 4, Port Vale, bottom, and Northampton, who I would imagine are going to be in and around the bottom 4 come the end of the season, and are currently, off the top of my head, 19th, I think. So they haven't really been tested properly since what, mid October. The only game there really you'd look at and go, actually, that's quite a decent result. It's probably the win at Mansfield.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's and I think it was Chris that popped it in our group chat and said none of these results are surprising, though, are they? And you do think, yeah, they've won 3 on the bounce and it looks impressive. But you're right. They're games that we should expect them to win. And I think if we had that set of fixtures, I'd expect the same result from us as well. I mean, the only thing maybe setting it apart is the amount of goals that they have scored in that run. They do score goals, and lots of them. Not just goals. They score lots of them as well. So that's probably something, we take into the game on New Year's Day. Is it could be a goal fest.
I mean, they scored 8 against Port Vale and Rotherham combined from an XG of just over 4. They scored 2 against Northampton from an XG of 2.61. Against Wigan, both sides were XG of under 1, 11 shots. I mean, the number of shots aren't particularly surprising. 16 against Port Vale. They did do well against Port Vale, but it's Port Vale. I mean, with greatest respect, they're pretty poor, aren't they? And you would expect them to be scoring goals. They've got Dion Charles that cost them 600,000-700,000. Alfie May, who's meant to be $1 million. Joe Taylor, not even getting in the side, meant to be a couple of million. Yeah, Marcus Harness is playing, and he's not striker, but kind of central midfield. They expect him to be doing well. And I'm going to give it a kiss of death now, but I just think that these are the sort of games where we're better, where these teams do come and they are expected to take us apart. You know, they played a strong side against us in the Mickey Mouse Trophy, and we played not weakened side, but it wasn't our strongest side, was it? We probably felt a little bit bad that we hadn't won that. Obviously, James Collins went off early. I think Eric Ring played a majority of the game. Dom Jeffries, I think, played at right back, if I remember correctly, or left back with Dexter Lembakisa at right back. And would you take a point?
I think I probably would, actually. Yeah, I think I would take a point. I think, with the run that we're on at the moment, I think a point's a good result, and it's just keeping that momentum going. It's not a win, but it's just keeping the points ticking over. And again, it's that glass half empty, pessimist, realist me that's coming out that's just thinking the bubble might burst at some point, and Huddersfield are quite good. But I think it'll be, I don't know, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it because I genuinely can't quite predict it. It doesn't feel clear cut as to we should win that, we should lose. I don't know. It's mad. And I mean, like I say, I'm not really a stats kind of girl, but I did dip into some stats earlier today, and their stats do look good, but I thought ours looked better, actually. And maybe I need someone like Chris to sort of, interpret it all, explain it so it's all just not numbers like the Matrix. But our stats looked better in terms of things like clean sheets and goals conceded were better. So if we can keep them out, who knows? Exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, in terms of number of shots, they're third highest in the division with 286. but you would probably expect that. Touches in the penalty area, third with 449. The offsides, they're second, another stat that they're high up on. Fouls suffered, 282, so they're the most fouled sides. Have had more corners than anyone in the division at 162. So the numbers look relatively dominant, but they're still 7 or 8 points behind us or whatever. So yeah, it's one of those where I don't think they're good. They're hitting their sweet spot. When they do, I think they'll do well. I don't think Lee Grant's the man to do it. And do you know what? I think a defeat against us, whatever run they've been on, their fans will be looking at their run going, we should be beating teams like that. The teams that they want to be able to beat are the teams that they think they should be beating, who are currently doing better than them. And we're talking us, Stevenage, Bradford. They're the games that could make or break Lee Grant. You know, if they go to Luton and Cardiff and don't win, as the only two teams that have beaten them in recent weeks, their fans might go, yeah, tough games, two former championship sides. But if they start losing to the likes of us in the league or don't beat the likes of us, I think things could get pretty nasty for him again, especially when you've got money that they're spending, on the likes of Joe Taylor, who's not playing. Freddie Ladapo was a relatively big income for them, he's now gone out. He's a free agent. It's just such a high churn. It's that kind of risk and reward all the time. And at some point that's got to stop. And I really will not care one iota about it come 5 o'clock on New Year's Day, unless, of course, we have lost, and then it'll annoy me. But they still won't be above us, so that's good.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I was just going to say quickly as well. Ultimately, like you look at Huddersfield and you look at the players they've got, but the league table doesn't lie, and I think they should, on paper, they should be right at the top. They should be really challenging. They probably should be roles reversed with where we are, but they're not. So let's have some hope.
Yeah, they are up to 5th, but they've still lost 3 more games than we have. And there's a 7-point gap. So even if they do beat us, we know that we'll be, as a bare minimum, 3rd on the 2nd of January. So Gerard Fox says they're not that good away either, which is interesting. I must admit, I haven't looked at the away form, and I will do that now.
That was one of the things I did look at. I didn't look at it in loads of detail, but it was definitely it definitely wasn't great away.
Well, they're 10th in the away table, and we're now 4th in the home table, believe it or not. But that's because Cardiff were the only team above us, but Bradford and Bolton have both since won one at home. So now we have played 1 game fewer than Bradford and Bolton at home, and were we to win that, we would be back up to 2nd. So yeah, we may ruin a few accumulators in the coming days. But as Paul says, got it that time. When we beat them on New Year's Day, we'll be 10 points ahead of them, played the same games. You'd take that. So, right, we are heading into 2026, but 2025 has been a year. Good place, good moments and bad moments. And to wrap up today's podcast, Emily and I, definitely not just 10 minutes before we went on air, so I have prepared nothing and I'm going to be doing it off the cuff. I'm going to let Emily go first all the time. Have decided to do our hero, villain, best moment and worst moment of 2025. So let's start with the negatives and we'll end on the positives. Mm-hmm. So in 2025, what was your worst Lincoln City moment?
Yeah. On the spot, having to think about this, the first one that comes into my head is the equaliser away at Bolton. Which I'm sure there's worse, but in that moment, just being so close to, what a performance we put in against them. We were backs against the wall, but we were holding out, and I never thought we'd go away to Bolton and win, which we didn't, but we were so close. So that feeling when that went in, probably one of the low points.
That's fair. I think my lowest point, has got to be Rotherham away at the beginning of this little run. It just had shades of kind of Bolton, and that was between Christmas and New Year, so that was still 2024. But going away, losing 3-0 to a team that aren't that good. I think we'd only just recently played Orient, off the top of my head, where we'd gone and we'd lost and we hadn't been that good. And it was just after I bravely predicted that we were good now. I think it was, we'd gone out of the FA Cup to Salford, and it just made me think, really, are we? Is this us now? Kind of thing. Yeah, I felt really negative coming out of the ground. I remember the ride home because it was really uncomfortable because my mate Dave was in the middle. My mate Dale was on the far right. Dale's about 6'8". Dave's about 16 stone. And I'm just me squashed. I hadn't had a drink in 3 hours. So I'd got that throbbing head kind of, we've lost 3-0. Everything's rubbish. So, yeah, that was my worst moment of 2025. Obviously, apart from away from personal life, I'm not going to try and claim that was worse than my father's funeral, but it was my worst vacancy moment of the year. Villain of the year.
Oh, this is a hard one because I'm sure there'll be probably
So
a few
many.
referees I could throw in. What game was it where the ref was just lost control? Mansfield? Was it?
Aaron Bannister, Mansfield.
Mansfield, him, because that was a bit crap. Put him in because he annoyed me.
You have taken my.
There we go. I can pick another one.
Hey, I'll tell you what. No, I'll take somebody else. I'll do Pordy O'Connor's agent. Just because he worked really hard to get Pordy his move, and nobody begrudged him it. But if I was Pordy, I'd be like, what have you done, mate? I was at the team that were flying last year, and now look where I am at Reading. We've sacked the manager. There's a winding up order gone in against us again, which won't go anywhere. It's a basket case. Or Sean Rowan's agent, maybe, or Ethan Arahan's agent. Maybe agents generally.
Agents, yeah, maybe, yeah. Unless you're Jovan McCarma's agent.
Yes, yeah. Or Josh Ginnelli's agent. I'd love his agent. I really would. Yeah, he has, hasn't he? He's got Luke Plange's agent. How does he?
Cohen Bramall's agent, or somebody like that. Yeah.
Cohen Bramall. Do you know what the thing with Cohen Bramall is over a couple of the others that we've just mentioned? Not Sean, by the way, who everyone knows the fan of, but Cohen was one of the nicest guys. I remember doing this meet and greet. It was with the sponsors, and they were all lined up along the advertising hoardings. It was before you went and mingled with them. It was kind of like they're that side of the hoardings and you're this side. It was when I met Chris Maguire, utter arsehole. And the players, they're young lads, and there's like a whole load of strange people, so they'll just bunch together. But when the advertiser hoardings are between you, they can stand 3 foot away in a group of 3. You never got to speak to them. They just stood there kind of being looked at like they were in a zoo. I remember Cohen smelt unbelievable, by the way. Like literally, I was ready to change. I was going, do you know what I mean? And I remember saying, I had a thing I was getting signed. So I was, Cohen, can you sign this? And he went, yeah, really shy, quiet lad. And then he went, do you want me to go and get the other lads to sign it? I was like, yeah, cheers. And then he went off like a little errand boy and got loads of other people to sign it and brought it back. And I just thought, there's a level of awareness, and that may have come from working in a factory before he went off to Arsenal and everything, didn't he? He was playing for Huddersfield, working in a factory, and then Arsenal signed him. And like 1 minute he's Joe Public, and the next minute he's not Billy Big Balls, but you know what I mean.
Do you know what I'd call that, Gaz? Class.
Class, yeah. Class. That is class, isn't it? That is class.
Is it?
Not like not booing Ronaldo when he's suffered a family tragedy. Like, aren't the Liverpool fans great? They haven't booed Ronaldo. Yeah, I've classed that. Yeah, well done. Class. You managed to put your differences aside for 1 minute thanks to personal tragedy. Oh, class. Throw me. So we've had biggest, worst moment, biggest villains. What do you want to do? Hero of 2025 or best moment? Do best moment first.
Best moment. Well, off the pitch, joining the podcast in 2025 was a highlight. And the kit launch as well was incredible. That was earlier this year as well. But on the pitch, Peterborough away, I think, was a highlight. That was a good day overall because that morning I'd been on 5 Live with Patrick Keelty playing Higher or Lower with Dave from the Shed in Peterborough. And then met him before the game, and I got a free hot dog. And I'm big mates with Vinnie Jones, and he was the most eccentric character I'd ever met. So that was fun. And then the game was great as well. So pick that one for me.
Yeah, see, I've got a couple. Mansfield away earlier in the season. Yeah, that big record win against them, San Lucas's goal and his celebration. The kit launch was unbelievable. That was such a good night, which is kind of a personal one away from football. But my moment or my moments of 2025 is probably going to be Bolton at home when Rico scored his free kick. We won 4-2. It was the week before the London Marathon. I got absolutely soaked. There was some fans came over from Australia who had been not begging, but had been saying they really wanted to meet us, and they came over. They were really nice guys. It was the last home win my dad ever saw, so it was the last home game. We went to Wrexham the week after, but it was the second to last home game, or penultimate, that we ever went to, so it was our last home win together. We stood in the fan zone, got absolutely soaked. He wore shorts and the Stacey West hoodie. I wore a top that I thought was waterproof, and halfway through the afternoon we realised the Stacey West hoodie was waterproof, and I was soaked through thinking I was going to get ill. It was just a great day. Yeah, we beat Bolton. We weren't going anywhere. There was no stress. There was no pressure. It was that kind of freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. We had complete freedom. Yeah, and it was good. And whenever I think of that day now, getting a little emotional. On my dad, what's the thing that you get at the service, the order of service, and the photo we put on the front was him getting piss wet through on Broadgate with his Stacey West hoodie up, laughing. And so, yeah, for me, that's the moment of 2025. So we will finish with Hero, the hero of 2025. And if you take mine, I'm going to ruin your 2026.
I'll be bumped off the podcast.
No pressure.
I've got players in my head, and there's two that I'm toying between. So I'm not going to take yours. Yours not.
You know who mine is, do you already?
Mine is Sonny Bradley.
Okay.
Sonny Bradley, because I haven't thought about Paudie O'Connor all season, and I think, as I said a bit earlier on in the podcast, losing those key players felt like a blow. And the fact that they haven't entered my mind since they left and we brought in the replacements, I said this, did I say it on the podcast or in our group chat? I think Sonny Bradley's better than Paudie O'Connor. And I'm putting that out there. So he's my hero. And what a man with his neck tattoos, and took his shirt off at the end of the game and gave it to a young kid. Class. Yesterday. So yeah.
Tell you what, if only he'd get a bottle of Cohen Bramall's aftershave, I'd complete it for me. I'd go full on fanboy. This isn't a question, more of a rhetorical statement that's out there. Sonny Bradley, you've got Regan Poole, you've got Paudie O'Connor, and Sean Raggett. So we have this long line of good centre halves, but recently, particularly, I'm talking Sean Rowan to Adam Reach. I'm talking Conor McGrandles to Ethan Arahan. I'm talking Sonny Bradley to Paudie O'Connor. Is it the player or is it the team that maketh the player? Because Paudie O'Connor last season for clearances, headed clearances and all that sort of thing was top of the Fantasy League rankings for centre-backs in our division. This week, Sonny Bradley moves to the top for the division. So if it's the right type of player and the style of play, Bradley and Reach both played for Wickham last season and were decent, but do you know what I mean? They let them go. I think it's a correlation between player and team. I think it's getting the right players for the right tactics, all that sort of thing.
I think there's definitely a bit of both. I would just say, I think Sonny Bradley's discipline is better.
Yeah.
In terms of picking up, I mean, he barely picks up a yellow card. Let alone a red, which feels to me a little bit more individual. But I do agree there is a combination there, definitely. But I think,
and he didn't deserve his red that your villain of the year gave him anyway.
No.
So my hero of the year is one of two. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, very close for my hero of the year, and I can already hear people. I'm going to go close to my microphone, going sycophant. Boo, propaganda. One of my penultimate hero of the year, my hero in waiting, and I don't want Stu to clip this, so I'm going to leave a gap between it, is Jez George. Because we're here talking about not being bothered about Paul O'Connor going because we've got a replacement, not being bothered about Sean Rowan, not being all of the players that we're talking about are doing well have been brought to this club by a full recruitment team. But who seals the deal? Who's the one sneaking players here, there, and everywhere? Who's the one who will literally do anything at all to make sure that we get our man? It's Jez, and he takes so much stick from like nobody. We've been on this run, 16 points from 18, right? I've seen nobody go, well done, Jez George. Going on Adam Reach, best signing, this, that, and the other. I don't see anybody going, oh, well, fair play to Jez for that. Everyone's just going, oh, really good. Soon as a lone player doesn't get a game or goes back early, oh, another Jez George masterclass, and it winds me up. So recruitment has been absolutely on the nose, but been spot on. But it is part of a wider team. So to just single out Jez as hero of the year would be unfair on everybody from Mark Tracy, who's not with us anymore. He's at Luton, he hasn't, to Joe Hutchins, the whole team. So my hero of the year, I'm a sycophant, I'm a propaganda arm. It's Michael Skubala, because I genuinely believe that he is the best coach in League One. We're 18th in the budget table. We're second in the table. And it's just a little breakaway group that we're a part of. And you look at the other teams that were in that breakaway group. It's all right, Bradford being League Two last season, but they're a massive club at this level, second highest attendance. They come into this division and they immediately go towards the top end of the division, and rightly so. Bolton, most attendances. Cardiff, Luton, Huddersfield, massive budgets. Plymouth, massive budget. There's only really Stevenage you could look at and go comparable. What Michael Skubala could get a tune out of a piano that had been sent to the tip where the keys were broken and the strings were popped. He could, honestly, and I won't have anything said against him. So Michael Skubala is my hero of the year, with Jez just behind him.
Well, I can't argue with that, and I can't add any more to it. I think you've summed it up perfectly.
Can I mention one other thing? I know we're slightly over time, but one other thing. Did you see Gillingham and Colchester last night?
The fisticuffs.
Did you see the two that started it?
I did. Yes. Yeah.
So as a younger supporter, one would imagine that you don't remember the wing wizardry of Sir Gareth of Ainsworth. I was a boy, a lad of Britpop. Do you know what I mean? 95, I was 16, 17. Britpop, 16, 17, 18, 19. Like, loved it. Everything. I had the hairstyles and the lot. And get the Gareth Ainsworth. He's in a rock band. He joins your team. Your team's been shit for years. He scores goals. He looks like you want to look. He plays like you want to play. He's even almost got the same name as me. Like, for me, Gareth Ainsworth has always been up there. And even like when he's at Wickham and they're coming and they're doing all their horrible tactics, you're going, yeah, but it's Sir Gareth. Look, he wears rock star boots and he's got long hair and he's got a biker jacket and he drives a Mustang. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. He's not Steve Evans. He's not odious with it. He's a likable shithouse. And then Danny Cowley comes along, who isn't solely responsible for the explosion of popularity, but this podcast, the site, wouldn't have been what it is if it hadn't been for Danny, for the access, for how open he was, for some of it was a training session that got a lot of traction. It was the dinner I had with him through it as a raffle prize, which, all that helped it take off. To see them two going at it, honestly, it'd be like me coming into the lounge and seeing Fee and Charlie having a proper, like, biting each other and ripping each other apart. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know, what do you do? What do you do?
Sit back and watch it. I guess watch it all unfold.
Oh, I couldn't. It broke my heart. Yeah. But for me, Gareth Ainsworth has just gone down this tiny little bit now.
Oh no! Yeah, don't let it spoil it for you.
It's like I said, if I came home and Danny Cowley was pinching my camper van, I would stop him to give him some diesel money and my sat nav. Right, we are well over time now, so we will say goodbye. For those of you watching at home, it hasn't been mentioned yet, but Emily is wearing a Christmas jumper still, December the 30th.
Yeah, I'm clinging on. It's Christmas-ish. It's festive. It's not Christmas, it's festive.
Yes, it is indeed. And hopefully we can keep up the festivities the day after tomorrow by putting Huddersfield Town to the sword. This was the last Stacey West podcast of 2025, which, as I have alluded to, has been a horrible year away from the pitch, but has been a very good year on the pitch. So just from everybody at the Stacey West, I'd like to thank you if you are listening, if you are watching live, if you're watching at home, for all of the support that you give us. Thank you to the patrons as well. It's been a phenomenal year for the podcast, and hopefully 2026 will be even better. So yeah, wherever you are, whatever you're doing tomorrow, we wish you a happy new year and all prosperity and success for 2076, but only if you're a Lincoln City fan. Otherwise, get stuffed. Up the Imps.
Up the Imps.